Good morning, SK. Good morning to everybody that's watching Morning Live. Here we are in the 5FM studios, and they can't stand looking at themselves on TV.
I'm looking away.
You know what? I had to force them to put a television on the radio station. It's like, guys, don't you have TVs in here? They're like, yeah, they just couldn't find the remote. What's happening?
Well, it's because the sport readers watch the TV to see live breaking news sport, whereas I turn off the TV because my beloved Tottenham Hotspur loses more than they wins. Can't believe that SA Tourism thought that would be a good branding
I was
opportunity.
going to say, Tottenham Hotspur, are you sad? Are you happy?
About the deal.
Yeah.
As a Spurs fan, I'm sad because it's a lot of money. As a South African, I'm delighted because it's a lot of money.
Exactly. Well, listen, we're not here to speak about that. We're here to speak about World Radio Day. And I mean, 5FM is... Guys, thank you for having us, by the way. All of you. We've got everybody sitting here from sports to traffic to... What else? Sports, traffic, news.
Yes,
and then, I mean,
and
obviously...
producers, technical producers. Some people are downstairs because we don't let them in the daylight. They need to focus on work.
Yeah.
But not in a weird way. They like it.
Because we don't get to see radio. We get to hear radio. And I mean, it's a world, and it's always been that theatre that takes us on a journey all over the place. And I mean, that's what radio is about. Radio's been with us for... How long now?
Just over 100 years.
Look at that.
The first ever broadcast was off of the coast of New York in America. It was a broadcast from the mainland to a ship. It was a piece of orchestral music, and as I said earlier on in the show, clearly they didn't like the orchestral music because the WhatsApp line did not light up with any kinds of praise in 1906 or whatever it was. But radio is so amazing and it's so powerful. I was speaking earlier about an incredible radio project that happened during apartheid in Khayelitsha, when the apartheid government wasn't providing good medical services to the people of Khayelitsha, and so somebody just put a transmitter in the back of a van, completely illegal, and drove around Khayelitsha broadcasting crucial health information in isiXhosa so that people could get health information, and that became the iconic Bush radio. 5FM has always been the edgy stuff. Many people will know it was LM radio back in the day, broadcasting from Lourenço Marques in Mozambique across the border, all the kinds of dangerous nonsense that the apartheid government did not want you to hear, and the dangerous radio. And 5FM has continued doing that all the way through until 2023. I'm so honored to be here on
Yes.
5. I remember as a lightie hearing Rehab from Amy Winehouse, and I Kissed a Girl from Katy Perry and thinking this is the edge that I like. And so
man.
I'm so delighted to be the latest person in this big seat.
Let me tell you something. I mean, 5FM and myself go back many, many, many years. In fact, my dream... and many people may not know this, but I mean, my dream was to be you.
No way.
I
What?
was. Like, for me, I wanted to be a DJ. I didn't want to be anything else. I just wanted to be a DJ. Hello. How you go? You see how
Everybody's-
famous radio is.
I know.
You guys are better. You get to speak to people. But anyway, I used to listen to 5FM, and it used to be this amazing. It still is an amazing youth radio station that would just get into our cars. I used to drive to school and listen to Alex J. Remember when Alex J was on?
Of course.
And all of the guys. I mean, there is such a history of people that used to sit here and drive these shows exactly where you're sitting on, and the list just goes on and on and on. And I mean, these people are people you will never forget, and that's the power of radio. They become these sort of these figures in your mind that influence you in certain periods of your life, and that's kind of what you guys all are right now, and that's the power of radio.
That's
it's
so
unbelievable.
kind. It's so sweet, and it's such a weird thing because we never get to see the audience, but there's a million people, and it's just this weird thing. And then somebody comes up to you on the street and says, "You remember that joke that you once made about the Great Barrier Reef in Australia?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "I remember that joke. It was so funny." Yeah, no, you're here to take my job. That felt a little bit like an audition.
Did it?
That felt a little
I'm trying.
bit like.
I was turned down. I was turned down for this job many times. I tried so hard.
Well,
I think I
done-
auditioned like a few times, and then they were like, "Nah, sorry, man, you are definitely not made for this."
Well, you've
although
done
I did
just fine.
news, so like I read news, but I mean, just to be cool and play music, they wouldn't let me, which is probably a good thing.
I'd love to have your job one day, so maybe we can do a swap.
I think so. It sounds like you got all the facts. But listen, what is it like for you to be on radio? I mean, just it obviously has always been a dream of yours. I mean, you started in university.
I did.
In the university radios, which is the best place to start.
No, it's
Yeah.
so wild. It's been my whole life as an adult. I'm 29 years old, and I first did radio when I was 20, and it was so rock and roll right from the beginning because on campus radio you could do anything and you could be really bad.
Yeah.
Like you could be really, really, really bad, but then things would just happen. I was at UCT at a time when Roads Must Fall happened, and it was like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and Mani Makwele threw the poo on the statue, and there was no media around, so he just walked up the hill and I got the first interview with him.
Yeah.
And I have a clip of it that I'll play a little bit later. But it was just rock star, and it was wild, and we were bad, and we were experimenting, and we were doing crazy things. I did a radio link from Beyond the Grave once with a Diablo soundtrack from the old Diablo game, which I'll never do again because I know the BCCSA didn't like it. But
Let's
I
not
did
do
my
it again.
best.
Not now. Let's not get complaints on TV and radio.
But
Should we just leave it?
it's been magical from the very beginning. It's just communing with people, and radio is live, and it's a friend in your car in the way that, no disrespect, because all platforms have great things, but radio's got no artifice, it's got no screen. It's just you're in the car, and if you've got the radio on, my voice sounds the same as your friend in the shotgun seat. And so it's going through life together. It's journeying through really hard times and really exciting times when the Springboks won, just going mad and celebrating on the radio. And that's why I think it will always be so special. And it's funny because, wow, video killed the radio star in 1967 was wrong. So SABC over 40 million listeners. 75% of South Africa's population listens to the radio every day, and we're so lucky.
And I mean, this is the primary way to communicate with people, because, you know, I mean, yes, of course, everybody's got devices these days and you can stream, but then again, we know how expensive data is. But, you know, the reality is that radio is with you. It's everywhere. I never sort of realized, I mean, I always realized the power of radio, but the once when I was driving, we actually did an outside broadcast for Morning Live somewhere, and I was driving back to Johannesburg, and at the time, it was the Oscar Pistorius trial, and I was desperate to listen to Oscar on the hot seat. It was the first day, and it was like, where am I going to find this? I couldn't stream, the data wasn't there, blah, blah, blah. And I started flicking through every radio station until eventually I found it on an SABC radio station, and I listened to the whole thing. And it was at that moment that I realized that this is power. Power is radio. It's an unbelievable medium, and for all of you to do what you do every single day, you set the tone, you set the mood. And you know how many kids you're driving to school this morning? That is the thing. And I mean, you know, going to school on a Monday morning is never a good thing.
It's rough.
No, it is rough.
It's very rough. That's why
rough.
we have the best morning music on radio and as many bangers as we possibly can.
Well, listen, put a banger on, because we're going to an ad break. Guys, 5FM, thank you. Thank you so much for having us and being here today on World Radio Day. Congrats to all of
Leanne
you.
Manas, you've got to tune into S1, S2, S3. That's where we get all of the best SABC